Welcome to Average Indian Joe. Thank you for watching my series, The Resilient Voices. Today we will be speaking to Mr. Shrikant Joshi, who has been associated with Vatsalya Trust for last 15 years. It's a selfless service that he has been doing. In this conversation, you will hear his determination and his resilience to help orphans and make difference in their lives. Please enjoy the conversation. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is a privilege to chat with you today. I've been speaking to you for last few months, and I was intrigued by one fact about your story is that you have been doing this social work for last 15 plus years as a full time, and that is one of the reason I wanted to have this conversation today. So I would give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then we can start from there.
Thank you. Thank you, Maniji. This was really a privilege, to come on your channel and talk to you regarding, the journey, what I had so far and how I'm associated with Vatsalya Trust for so many years and so many other organizations also, about more than 60 organizations I'm linked with today. Of course, I started my career as a shipping, professional. And at the age of 45, I left my job. That was a career when you are at the peak of your career in mid 40s, or so that was a challenge in terms of leaving that career at that point of time. But then I was more passionate about the work to work for the destitute, deprived orphans, and so many such categories where they really need that kind of support and help. So in sometime in 2010, I left my job on a full-time basis. I was working with shipping companies those days. And I left my job and wanted to have a complete diversion in terms of what I was doing earlier. It was a very professional organizations, and I wanted to work for something which is a non-governmental sector, which works for such such categories of people. So it was, of course, a challenge. The challenge more was on the front of family, because they were not going to have those kind of comforts, that time, quality time, and all those things. And on the second line, I was not really sure how I'll able to assimilate myself in terms of, or get absorbed myself in the work that I intended to do.
Absolutely. But so this is the reason why it makes more purpose driven story. This is right, because the whole reason why we are capturing such stories in our resilient voices is because when you drive energy and focus for a certain purpose, right? Every day is a challenge for those people, and they still believe in that purpose, and then they continue marching towards that goal, right? And I think that's exactly what I heard for last 2 months from you, Shrikantji. And that's why
Yes.
I thought of having discussion with you now. As you transition from corporate world shipping company to the social service work, right? That journey must have not been easy, right?
Yeah, actually, it was a very difficult decisions those days, because, in fact, I was passionate about my, getting into social arena, social service. And then my wife also, she has also done doctorate in genetics, and she had also a field which was ahead of us, where she could have gone in for a really research-oriented job. Uh, when I tossed this idea with my family, with my wife especially, both of us debated on it, and in fact, both of us did not want to work for money for throughout our life, so we decided that one should not work for money and one should work for so that the household expenses can be taken care of. And actually, my wife had really sacrificed her career for maybe for my passion. In fact, we decided that I would leave the job early, maybe, and then join on a full-time basis, and she would work for the rest of her life, so that the family is taken care of. Actually, the challenge was more on I was not really aware that for my passion, I may be sacrificing a lot many other aspirations of my family, and not only family, the whole entire the relations and so many other things. My especially my children, because my daughter once asked me that if I had to ask if my friends ask me like where
Okay.
your father is working, what I should be telling. So that actually gave me a lot, really a jolt. Like I really, because all their friends were working for multinational companies and so many. So joining a NGO sector where you don't earn, because I don't. I decided that my rest of my life I will not earn any money
Wow.
for for my service that I offer.
Yeah.
So it was really that thought that went through my this and then I realized that what kind of a sacrifices even my children will be making for
Absolutely.
this in terms of time, in terms of money, the comfort that probably I would be giving if I'm earning lots of money. So of course there is a good amount of sacrifice on either side, especially from my family friend, and of course relations. And even the companies that I were working for, they also wanted the services, because my in fact one of shipping corporation of India, where I was working earlier, the boss had come here and said that if you decide sometime to turn around and wanted to join corporate life, I should have the first right of refusal. He said that you should join me first. If I say no, I don't have the requirement, then probably you can go anywhere. But that kind of the love and affection people showered in such journey.
So I think it's such an incredible story. This is because somebody who decided to leave corporate job and working for NGO and social service without taking a single paycheck, right? It's hard. It's a hard journey, and but it requires courage. It requires determination, and it also requires gut feel that you're on the right path, right? And many of us, right, uh, try to do this the social service, but in a part-time fashion. Even I do it, my kids do it. And in this of course, in this you know transition, I'm pretty sure there has been a tremendous amount of load on your family to actually see you uh, uh, you know uh, giving your majority of your hours to social work, right? And kudos to them, and it's a uh, great sacrifice, I would say, that they must have done. And I know your
Yeah.
kids are grown up now. One of your daughter is in
They make, yeah, they're
Philadelphia.
making now also a good amount of sacrifice. Yeah, yeah, correct. Yes, yes.
One of your daughter
Yeah.
is in USA, Philadelphia, uh, and then one is in India. How do they feel about their father now?
They most of the time they crib quite a lot about me not giving them sufficient time. They have their own, but however, they have reconciled over a period of time. The fact that I've been working for not for myself, I'm working for the society and for a larger cause.
Yes,
That's what they take pride in also. Of course, there are times when I really struggle. They also struggle for the time and the when it is going out somewhere, or maybe they wanted to enjoy time, family time together, and I'm not available. I may be traveling or maybe something of that sort. So anyway, it's a constant struggle that we all go through. But then ultimately, the fact that the happy moments are when and when you see that your members are doing something great for the society, at the same time embedded with the family values and the
correct,
love.
correct, absolutely,
So I think that actually drives them together and keeps them at bay, so that
yes.
sometimes the demanding time is sometimes, though it is not fulfilled, but ultimately they reconcile to the fact that these things would not happen as they expected. But then, of course, the family values and togetherness is more important than anything else. That's what they realize.
I think you have a big family now, right? It's not just two. two
Yeah.
daughters, but
Yeah, it's
you're
not just for
you,
two daughters
yeah,
and
you have now bigger family, and that's exactly why we are meeting today. And I wanted to know more about Vatsalya Trust, and what kind of initiatives this trust has, and how are you guys changing lives of different people. And that's something. Would you like to talk to our viewers, please?
yeah, yeah. In fact, the first when I left my corporate career, I knew about Vatsala Trust then because I was working for their donation drives and other things. So I knew that the people are very passionate. They are very selfless. They are they're very dedicated to the cause. So my first choice was, of course, I would if I leave, I would join Vatsala. Watshala was started in 1983 by founders named Mr. Gajanan Damle, then Sanjini Tai Raikar, then Mr. Sure, Dr. Shivram Athole, and like other like-minded people who intensely felt need to provide care and protection to the abandoned orphan kids. That was a cause that they picked up sometime in 1975, 80 range, and then the institution was established in 1983. Uh, though it started as a center to provide care and protection to infant orphans and then rehabilitate them by way of adoption. That is a very cause that they because those days in India the adoption was not very prevalent. Like
Yes.
most, and then there was no social acceptance for such adoptions in those days. So of course, giving children in adoption was of course a very challenging time at that at that moment of this phase. But then slowly the adoption as such picked up quite well in India in last 40 years that we can see. Earlier, when the people normally used to take children in adoption in their families mostly. And later on, when they realized, when the nuclear families started, coming up, and people realized that maybe for the succession or maybe for succession of the family wealth or something, they wanted to have a child, and then they started coming up for the adoption, and then mostly the preference was for the male child. It was
Yes.
not for the the girls, of course. Later on, as we see that there has been a good amount of understanding, the society is also getting matured awareness, and even people are coming for taking the girl child in a later phases. Today is a time when we see that in spite of their having their own child, which is a girl child, people come forward to adopt another girl child. So I think this is a complete transition in the last 40 years where we can see a complete taboo, a social taboo towards adoption, to a phase where people are adopting girl child in spite of they having their biological child, which is a girl child. So I suppose this is a good social churning that has happened in last couple of years. Um, Moreover, we feel that still the Indian families are not coming forward to take a disabled child in adoption. That is, whereas in foreign countries, borderline disabilities are accepted and the children grow in the family. So I think that phase is yet to come in India, but then slowly we believe that that phase also will come. And of course, the respect for adoptive parents, like and that also is a growing whether the society accepts whether if I can accept a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law in who is already adopted child, whether I can accept that in my family. So this complete kind of a salvation of adoptive children in the society is yet to happen. But then there has been substantive progress in that direction. So I believe that, and that is a cause that it picked up. And then in last more than about 39 years, we have given more than 1,440 kids in adoption so far, about that numbers, from the both locations at Kanjur Marg as well as in Alibag. So that's a good, we contribute close to about 1% of national average. In India, about 4,500 kids get adopted over a period of 1 year. So we contribute close to about 1% of the national average by giving in adoption about 35 to 40 kids every year. So, and that has been a good good journey so far. Also, while doing taking care of these these kids, abandoned orphan kids or the surrendered kids, like India, you can officially surrender a child in front of the court, and then that child can be given in to the institutions like us, and then we follow the procedures of Kara and then give the child in adoption. But apart from that, there was another section which was quite neglected also, which is regarding the destitute and orphan girls, which are in the age group about 6 to 18 years of age. There's a good number of these. They can be the girls coming from these single parent families, or maybe those who are caught in crime, or maybe those who are involved in sex trade and caught in sex trade or something.
Even
So
abuse, sexual abuse.
abuse, of
Yes.
course, that is sexually abuse girls. So there is a good amount of care and protection which is need to be given to them. And apart from care and protection, it is a psychological counseling which is also very important in their growing phases, because they have a very dark past which they wanted to forget and look forward towards having their journey, which is stable, which is more, so that the confidence builds up in them. So this is a cause which we took up sometime in 2000, and the a separate setup was made in Sanpada.
Do you also have to take care of them after adoption for certain time?
No, normally, as per the rules, once the child is given in adoption, it becomes a legal heir also, the family. Basically, once the child is given in adoption, normally we have about every 6 months we have two, inspection done at the family visits. And if the things are fine, then probably the process continues. Thereafter, we hardly have any this, However, post this, we have formed a group of these adoptive parents, adoptive children also, Runanubandha, wherein we have a constant interaction with them, about their this, and so that they can come together on one platform. Because we believe that they are our future stakeholders. Like, they can be taking, interest in the
Some interest in
work
this
of
noble
the
cause.
institution.
Yes.
And so we have, noble cause, and they are so closely associated. They are like blood relations, like,
Yes. Yes.
whereas we all are, parachuted down the.
Correct. Correct.
But then they have very intensely feel about because they have been taken care of by this institution and all. So we believe that they can be future stakeholders. And yes, we do have interactive platforms wherein they participate in the work of the institution. So, and that is how we can constantly be in touch with them.
When these kids go to their families, right? Obviously, some of them are aware, and it all depends on what age they go, right? But it gets adopted, right? And some of them may know that they have been adopted at one certain age, or some of them may not even know for longer period.
Correct.
Now, in that process, do these parents consult with you as to how the how they should be interacting with kids in terms of revealing this particular part? Do they consult with you?
Yeah. We have a proper pre and post counseling, pre and post adoption counseling facility here, wherein we tell them what are the precautions to be taken prior adoption, post adoption, and all those. And since it is a psychological counseling, they are given a good amount of insight into the entire process of adoption. Moreover, we also tell them that when the child comes to a understanding age, the parents should tell child that the child is
Correct.
adopted.
Correct.
So there is a buying from the child also, because we find that at a later age, if he comes to know from someone outside, then there is a good amount of dejection that he develops, and then he develops a distance from the family, or maybe he will not feel the longing, for the parents also.
Correct.
So so the parents are told that they should be telling the child in time, so that the child accepts that though they are not their biological parents, but still the love, affection, and the care, and what they are offering to him is really value a lot.
Absolutely.
So this process is pretty set as far as the process of adoption is concerned.
So this is a emotionally hard journey for many of the uh, associates who are working within your trust, correct? Because they have bonded with those kids, and when they get adopted, it's like somebody from their family is traveling to some other place, right? So many of your staff must be getting attached to those individual kids as well, isn't it? So this is
Yes.
kind of a roller coaster also, right? Many, it's a bittersweet moment sometimes, right? It depends on how much they are attached, isn't that true?
Yeah, that's true. In fact, it is a quite emotional journey. In fact, whenever the child comes to us, through hospital or through police or through child welfare committee, the first thing that we do is that assign a mother to the child, because the child is that's how the journey starts. So once you assign a mother, the mother decide takes, though the caregivers work in shifts, but the mother keeps track of whether child is properly fed, it is given medicines, whether it is immunization or so that's how the child starts getting absorbed in the entire process. In fact, whenever we give the child in adoption, it is that mother who hands over the child to the next
Oh, next mother or
the
next
adoptive parents,
parent, right?
the next mother. Correct,
Yes,
correct. So actually that is quite emotional, and we do the basic rituals which are required to be done, but actually that signifies, like, how the even Krishna was born like that. You
absolutely.
know that he was born to and then lived in with Yashoda, and she grew it up. We say something similar, like, the child comes to me, and then it is taken care of as a foster care institution like us, and then it is given to a new mother who. And we believe that in the journey of any child, the mother's love is very, very important, and
Correct.
that is the cornerstone of any of any upbringing of a child. So
Absolutely.
mother's love, then the family relations. If once he goes into family, like, he gets the family relations. Otherwise, if he stays in the institutions like us, he does not get relations, which he can get in the family, and of course the financial security. And that is why we believe in adoption, because if the child gets all these, if it gets into a family. So and as you said, yeah. So it is very emotional journey as such, as far as these are concerned. Yeah, so all the staff enjoys this because the
Yes,
child is going to start something new.
new, correct.
Though it is
New journey.
a loss to me in terms of, the child is going to start a new journey, is going to have all this that the child should have. So it's a very emotional and very happy moment also at the same time. Yeah.
That's why I said it's a mixed emotions, right? I mean, you are happy that
Miss
he
emotions,
found a
yeah.
new home. You're a little bit of sadness because the mother who was, even though she's a temporary mother, but she never acted as a temporary mother because she was actually taking care of that child all the time. And when I was watching the footage, I think from my perspective, right, when I looked at that footage, I could feel that emotions within myself, but I cannot imagine at this point of time what you must be going through, your staff must be going through, and whenever and it has happened, almost like it happens 30 to 40 times in a year, right? So every time this happens, it gives you satisfaction, it gives you joy, it gives you that the feeling in your heart, and you take that feeling home, right, at your house, and then share that joy with your wife and your kids. How is that? How was how is that process like when you actually talk about it at home? What exactly are the feelings at home?
Actually, to be frank, I don't carry this home because simply because it's like, a doctor doing his surgery, like, he's emotionless, because in fact, everyone would not have a kind of a mindset which probably to deal with such situations, and you can have a emotional journey wherein you start feeling about it, and then and it has to be done like, as you have done an operation, as though you are intensely involved in the process, but you are detached from the subject. Like, the more you start getting attached, then probably the job that you are required to do in this arena, you might not be able to do with such impartiality, and then
Yes.
So though we are all involved into it fully, though we are passionate about it, we wanted to provide love, affection to a child, whichever extent to the possible. We at our side, we try to keep that so that we are in our judgment, in our work, will be able to carry this forward. And of course, as you mentioned, the caregivers are so
Yes,
more
attached,
intensely involved in this
more
process, and they
attached.
they feel so much about it. But of course, at some point of time, as mentioned earlier, it is a journey, the new journey that has begun for a child. So we are more happier than anything else.
So, so you talked about destitute girls, right? And this is a very sensitive topic, right? And it is unfortunate and devastating for many families whose kids have to go through this event. I would say now the sensitivity is so high for this particular program. It requires that confidentiality at your institute, and also a staff who can understand that sensitivity and perspective, without judging anybody, right? How do you take care of that part at your institute? Is there a training, or is there a kind of a program that you guys run through?
As far as the Balikashram is concerned, as you mentioned, it is very sensitive in terms of, because the children at a growing age, they're adolescence age, and taking care of them psychologically is extremely difficult. We
Yes.
have a team of professionals with us, which we also work for special needs children also. So we have psychologists, clinical psychologists, and then we have therapists, various types of physiotherapy, occupation therapy, speech therapy, and all for special needs children. But then, basically, for these girls, we have to constantly interact with them, understand their mental makeup, the kind of a background that they come from, and how do you establish their identity ultimately, because
Right.
that is what we should be aiming at. I mean, we should be able, because they lose their identity in the process when they come from such
Correct.
backgrounds, and giving that kind of a confidence, the kind of courage to face the life as it is, and then start the journey. Many of these, as I mentioned earlier, that those who are coming from sixth grade do not even have a basic level of education done. So when they come to me at the age of 12, 13, when they are already in the 3 years of in a sixth grade, so you can imagine kind of age that they get into this kind of a problem, and they do not have formal schooling. So when they come to me at the age of 13, 14, technically I should be making them learn sixth standard, seventh standard level of
Correct.
education. But then they start with basic alphabets, then. And we have seen that they pass in the 10th standard with the good amount of mark, about 70%. Few of them have scored. And it is really a very satisfying journey that they, after having started so late in their life, and they look forward for making their life more meaningful in terms of, and more contributive. So, of course, the journey for them, of course, we have to take care of the psychological traumas as and when, because they are allowed to meet their family members once in a while. So again, there is emotional ups and downs for them. Then the language that they have developed by living outside, very aggressive language at times, because they have to survive in those conflicting environments. So they develop a very a very aggressive, kind of a language, and the postures, and the whole, So,
It's a
um,
survival
uh,
mechanism,
so
right?
yeah, yeah. So taming that, maybe making them live what they are all about. So they're fighting their inner self. It's a process by itself, and then our team is doing a really good job. The entire credit goes to that team. We have normally a psychologist who takes care of, a clinical psychologist who takes care of the psychological issues and overall work. And there is a staff caregivers, there are supervisors, then there are superintendent who, daily schedules are maintained, their food, their, schooling, all that. All these girls that we have, about 50 girls we have, all of them go to school. and they have the formal education. We after their education is completed, about formal education is completed,
Mhm.
we cannot keep them in the institution beyond 18 years of age. So we keep them somewhere outside in other institutions where they are allowed to keep once they become major, and we take care of their food and education, also lodging, boarding expenses, and so that we see to it that they are on their own. They can live on their own, and the girls which are not so good in studies are put in some of the skilling programs. Like we have a para-nursing program, computer training,
Mhm.
driving, beauty and wellness, tailoring, fashion designing. So we absorb them in one of the skilling programs so that they can be on their own. Many of our girls are higher educated. They are postgraduates also. The one
Wow.
masters in management or in law or anything. One of our girl is presently studying. She has completed her studies she has done MS in food technology in
Wow.
from Birmingham University in UK. And she
Fantastic.
just completed, and so she will be doing her doctorate now. I mean, we see to it that to whatever extent that they wanted to study, they wanted to so that we
Such a
provide
proud moment,
the
right?
funds we provide. It's a very proud
It's
moment.
a
In
proud
fact,
moment.
recently, recently we had a we completed 25 years for the institution for Balikashram. So about 30 odd graduates of Balikashram had gathered, the four masters also, and many of them were very we it was a really heartfelt moments. Those on recently we had just last Sunday. That was very satisfying from the point of view that the girls made up, and then they are facing the world. Like, otherwise, you could imagine the girl coming from such a challenged background. What would normally it used to happen earlier. We used to send them back to their families after 18 years of age, and then we realized that the father to whom we are sending the child, a girl, back, if he's a drunkard or he's in jail, or whether the mother has eloped with someone. So what kind of a
Environment.
life or kind of career environment that we are sending her back? So we decided subsequently that we would see to it that unless the family conditions are not, if not good, then we repatriate them in the institutional under institutional care only, and see to it that they are on their own. Only one thing that we miss is the life skills that we, in the four walls, giving life skill is something, a challenge that we are
Yes.
working on, so that they can settle in the families. They are on their own now, but the settling in the families is a challenge by itself. So we are working on that so that they are they not only have good value systems with them, but then the family values, they should understand the family values well. So we have a program wherein we started sending them outside, where they can live with the family for a while, and that is how they would understand the family values also, so that they have a very steady family life also subsequently.
So I think when I look at this, the whole different programs that you run within Vatsalya Trust, obviously it requires financial support, right? And massive financial support, and that's a biggest challenge. That's where it comes down to how your corporate experience that you could use in getting that financial support for this particular trust, and how did you manage that over the last several years?
Yeah, that was because when I joined, actually, it was time when the succession planning was a need of our then, because most of our trustees were in late 70s and mid 70s. Um, and of course, there were newer areas also coming up. In 2013, the corporate law got amended in India, and that is how the institutions or the corporates need to give 2% of their net profit
Hmm.
for a social cause. So that
Hmm.
was a good turning point at that point of time. So um, initially there were new areas which opened up but then we never tried, because we always believed in individual donations or maybe some portion of institutional backing. Um, my corporate experience helped me in bringing a little more professionalism in the entire system. because people were passionate, selfless. But then, the moment you start growing beyond certain then you need to have a lot of professional experiences also embedded in the with the passion, so that
Correct.
you grow. So my that experience helped me in developing, making projects, which can be submitted to corporates, and so that the fund flow would happen and our expansion needs could be met. Because so long we were working in a very small geographical area. Our funds were largely met by the individual donations, but we started growing into and we started expanding geographically also and getting into newer areas. That is where we realized that funds will be required, and the corporate support came handy at that point of time. And I'm not only doing it only for the Vatsalya Trust. We have helped supported close to about more than 50 such NGOs across Maharashtra,
Very good.
India, wherein we provided them with a system. It was a system support. It was a support towards writing such projects and getting them funds, so that they can also fulfill their dreams of expansion, and then bringing, because corporate professionalism earlier, the when the donation was given, normally the people never used to ask what we have done with the money. The corporates, when they came on board, it was we were made more accountable to
It's
the funds which were given.
accountability
Then we
increased
have
basically.
accountability, yeah, and the financial discipline was also largely established through this. Our funds were more focused towards, earlier also it was there, but then since the process of accountability was brought a overall change, and that is how we also have gone in for ISO certification also, for
Yes.
to establish and to make our systems more robust. So we have gone in for 9000 ISO 9001 2015 certification from TUV Austria. And that really established systems and processes within our system, so that we could take this forward. So professionalism, in fact, so the professionalism in term helped me in getting this in a more formal structures, and and replication, the system became slightly easier, because then we had certain set of system that we have done in our skilling programs. We have expanded. We had earlier computer training center here. Now we have across about 40 odd centers we have
Hmm.
in collaboration with local NGOs. So the replication became much easier with the system and processes and sect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think uh, your corporate experience basically helped this trust to organize themselves, right, to maximize the fund and do more for these kids and these girls, and for their well-being and their future, right. um, as I believe, like, always the social work is always contagious, right. So when I watched my father doing this, so I started, and my kids started watching me, and they have started their own organization, right. So um, do you think the kids who have gone through this adoption of 1440 kids, and even some of the partners with whom you are working right now over the last 15 years, have they got inspiration from you, where they have started their own journey, just like you?
Yeah, in fact, we were not aware that so many, knowingly, unknowingly also, many have picked up, such, cause. In fact, is one of the famous institution in Nagar, wherein they started adoption center, only after looking into the processes, systems, and the work that we have done over the years. And they are presently doing much better than us also. So that's a good satisfaction for us. An institution, orphanage has come up in Orissa, and they got the basic, understanding of the systems and processes here in Vatsalya Trust, and the adoption center has opened up in Orissa also. So likewise, as you say, many people have liked the cause, but as I mentioned, um, understanding of the cause is not sufficient. It is
Yes.
not only the journey of passion, because normally, for getting into a corporate job, you need to have certain skill set to get into a corporate job. However, getting into an institution, though we are, we are infected enough, with the idea of working for a social cause, but then you need to have basic traits like selfless work, or maybe the passion and the dedication that you require. And I always believe that this is a journey towards the spirituality. I mean, it is not something that you just do it for a, as you mentioned, a part-time basis or something.
Yes.
You have to get fully involved into it to
Yes.
live those
You just
emotions
have
or
to pour
those,
your
this,
heart in. You just have to pour your heart
you
in.
just got to pour, and then the time, yeah, exactly. So many times people say that okay, I will come for an hour or two, maybe, and then of course, no doubt, it is also going to support the institution. But I always feel that you are available 24/7, of course, for this job, this kind of jobs, where um, you end up giving your own self to the cause, and that is how I believe that this journey, though it is appears to be this, but many would be able to absorb it only when they fully dedicate to it. It is not something a part-time dedication. I always believe that such social works are a
Yeah.
full-time work. And need you, as you mentioned, you need to really pour your heart to get into it, and then only you will understand that pain. Then only you understand that kind of a suffering that these, whether it is a destitute girls or maybe infant orphans, and then only you will be able to really formulate policies. You will be able to take care better in terms of their progresses. So I believe that this is a seamless journey. It is not something it is that can be done in 8 hours. And
Absolutely.
I we prefer and that is why we prefer dedicated volunteers, so that they can take care of such jobs on a long term basis.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that you talked about when there are regulations, obviously, in adoption, in obviously in India, a lot of regulations have come up. But at the same time, such regulations are primarily because there is also a chance, slightest chance of fraud, correct? And so, how do you protect from those things as somebody who's responsible for the whole institution?
As far as the now the process is pretty, from 2015 onwards, the process is it has become more transparent in terms of the adoptive parents also have to register on the CARA website, that is the Central Adoptive Resource Authority.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the parents have to give the credentials, their earning, this also, the income sources and other things. And the home study is also done for such parents through a local social worker. And all these reports are available on a site, on a government site. At the receiving, at the other end, the institutions like us, like, which are childcare institutions, we also have to provide all the details, including the medical reports of a child, onto the site, and then the matching is done centrally. So earlier, the system was, though it was more towards child centric. It was not so much transparent, like,
Correct.
though it was taking care of more from the interest of a child point of view. But now it has become slightly more towards the parent centric, but at the same time it has become more transparent also, so that the chances of fraud or maybe are to an extent minimized, because system is it is the information is available across to all those who wanted to, the government authorities, the caregiving institutions, to the parents and the social workers. So everyone is in the thick of this, and then the selection is done accordingly. When the child is suppose the parents, if they are shown a particular preference of a child, when the turn comes, they are shown a child on a and then when they do not wanted to accept that child, maybe for certain reasons, the next option is chosen, another child is shown. So likewise the process goes. So in fact, the fraud can happen only because we strongly believe there may be a large number of the children which are not in this the government process of adoption.
Hmm.
So we believe that if good amount of work can be done by the government agencies to do away with this kind of those who are outside the system. So I think there can be more number of children available for a legal way of adoptions. So I think, but however, this though it appears that it is not so easy that the children can be getting, because in India, if a woman does not deliver a child, or if
Mhm.
it does not deliver a male child, it's still a big taboo.
Correct.
And many of them go in for I would say non-legal processes of getting the child, and then the system works. But over a period of time, we feel that as we have seen so much of a transformation in the adoption process itself in terms of preferences of the adoptive parents and all. We believe that the system would set in the women would be having more freedom in terms of deciding about whether how they should be whether they should be adopting a child, or
Mhm.
whether how the new member in the family should be coming.
Correct.
So I believe that this those who are not falling within the system can over a period of time will fall in, and with the good amount of government regulations also in that direction.
Shrikant, I think you've been doing this for many many years, and so one, when you are building this institution more sustainable, right, for future, uh, do you also worry about the legacy? Because obviously you started when the original founders Damle Kaka and Riker,
Like
they
and
were
all,
in
yeah.
70s or 80s, right? So do you worry about the legacy, or you are preparing for that? How exactly that's happening?
Yeah, that's a big this, in fact, as I mentioned earlier, there was the assimilation of the old and the new when I joined, because I was in the age of 40s, mid
Yes.
40s or something, and the rest of them. Now I am also come to I have just become a senior citizen lately, by the Indian standards.
You
So
don't look like.
the new so now the new genre which is coming mostly from the corporates, and understanding the work culture that we have,
Mhm.
um, and moreover intensely feeling the pain of the employees, because I always believe that it is the employees who are driving such institutions, though we are there to direct, and but then the work that the employees do, the caregivers or maybe office staff, or actually they contribute quite a lot in terms of this, because Vatsali is a well diversified institution in terms of we have orphanage, we have Balikashram,
Yes.
we have centers for special need children, then we have lots of skilling programs, and we train somewhere close to about 4,500 to 5,000 youth every year, and give them various skilling programs, so that they become employed. So all these diverse have to be taken into account while this. So I always believe that the new genre which has been coming up, to develop the mindset, we develop a Watshala support group, wherein they would have a form, or they will form a group, and then they will slowly understand the systems culture of an organization, and then they will be able to take that forward. So we have formed the Vatsal support group. Moreover, we always believe that whenever the new people come, in order to establish them within the work culture, we always try to give them the newer jobs, or something which is not already established work practices, so that they can develop their own ways of looking at,
Correct.
at these.
Different
At the
way
same
of
time, slowly,
different thinking, right? I
yeah,
mean, out of box thinking
thinking,
somewhere.
different thinking, yeah, out of box thinking, but that is for the newer projects, or
New
the
projects.
newer areas or neglected areas. Many times,
Correct.
if you can put them in the neglected areas, they will be able to excel much better, because then they will be able to do and they prove themselves, because proving your passion, proving your dedication is very difficult. It is not, as I mentioned earlier, it is not a skill set that you get a certificate for.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
in the neglected areas, the newer areas where they can prove themselves, and by then slowly learn the ethics, or the values and the culture of an organization. And I'm very happy that we have about 8 to 10 such people, who have been already
Yes.
associated with so that they will be able to take care of your future roles in management, and take this legacy forward, because I have inherited it from Damle Kaka, and of course, the then board, and I was I was the youngest person then in the board that time when I took over the helm of the Vatsalya. I we always believe that such legacy should be carried forward. The time when I have to need to pass on the baton, the next team should be ready so that they would take it further and make it a Vatsalya a global organization really.
For from your side to our viewers that you would like to give, Shrikantji?
Uh, well, um, in fact, many want to start, wanted to contribute some way or the other to the society, and many feel that okay, I'm working for a corporate, I'm earning money, but they, in a way, they are also contributing quite a lot in terms of money, in terms of time at times. Um, Actually, now, I always believe that networking is a key. Like as in whatever position you may be, if you can network with the NGOs, if you can, NGOs also have to network themselves also with other
Hmm.
like-minded NGOs so that they can carry it forward, the work for much better, and then the association. But today, the complexities in terms of NGO working, in terms of its compliance, in terms of its the way they look at the entire social problems. The social problems are also changing in terms of complexities. Earlier we had problems with the drinking, and today we have drugs. Then we have something else, coming up. When you are working with the in the jail, we find that today the depression is one of the major cause of this.
Mental health. Mm.
Entire mental health is a major issue. So I believe that the volunteers who wanted to work, they have to work holistically in terms of providing their services and see to it that the art of giving is something that you should start with. When you start giving something, you maybe your time, your money, it is your journey begins. As I mentioned, it is a spiritual journey.
It's a
So yes,
spiritual
journey
journey.
begins by giving. So your journey begins by giving. And you, as you start giving more and more intensely, you start the feel of whichever area that you may be working in. Maybe you are a colleague also, if he needs a psychological help or maybe help in terms of even in his work pressures, that I think there also you are contributing enough towards the society and the entire the system that you are working with. So in my suggestions or the request would be that everyone, we are individual human beings, having a social mindset. Um, One should start giving. I think the giving starts as then your individuality starts dissolving with it. Once you start giving, and then you realize your own self. Only after that. So I think the simple message would be start giving. And then
Absolutely.
you would invigorate your own self slowly by that process.
That is
Yeah.
so true.
When the things do not move as per your understanding, or maybe the culture that you have to work with, but then or maybe the processes, sometimes the regulations can be so frustrating, but then you'll have to find out your way out, and once you deliver and once you achieve the something that for not for yourself, because all this you are struggling to meet for someone else's life.
Correct.
So once you
Absolutely.
achieve that, and the smile on their faces, or that is worth millions. I think that's where you're paid off, in terms of. So I believe that struggle has to be taken in stride, because otherwise you many I see they start with this work and then they drop out simply because they're not able to keep up, because that's why the passion has to be intense, for this. It is not a part-time job. It is not something that you just do for a few hours and then so maybe once you start getting into it, then the frustrating moments can pull you back. But then if you are on your journey, you should believe that you're doing this for someone to come up in their life. I think that will keep you on the track, and then it becomes really a selfless journey.
So that's one of the reason why, and I know I it's such a great privilege, even to just speak to you here in this show, right? And whoever is watching this channel and my show, they can actually help Vatsalya Trust by going to their website or the website that I have, which is dedicated uh, for helping such institute. It's at the description of my channel, and you can donate your money, you can donate your time, and to make impact in somebody's life, and that's a great cause. Uh, Thank you so much once again. It has been a great pleasure speaking to you, and definitely we would love to speak again down the line. But I'm excited to work with you in this journey, Shrikantji. Thank you so much. Really appreciate.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to explain work of Vatsalya and my journey also. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Mr. Joshi has been driving his energy for a certain purpose to make a huge difference in people's life. And that is incredible. Your small help will really make a huge difference in Vatsalya Trust, who is on a mission to change life of orphans and destitute girls. So if you would like to donate money, please use the description box and click on the link that I have posted there. This will really help them. These are the stories that we would like to capture in our series. And if you would like to be my guest, then fill up the application form which is in description box, and you and I will be able to have conversation. Please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for the next voice. Thank you for being part of Average Indian Joe. Good night.